Join us each week for some Booze Free Banter about life without booze.
If you're entertaining the idea of cutting back your booze by a day, a week, a month, or for the rest of your life, we would love for you to tune in.
Buckle up and come along for a ride that may just change your life. Just a heads up, some of our conversations we have may be triggering for some. Reach out to your local resource support centre. If you're in Australia, that's Lifeline 131114.
Hey, Maso.
Hey, Breeza.
Did you know that Altina is a non-alc wine built from botanicals and native Australian ingredients?
Oh, I did not know this.
And how good's this? It is also made right here in Australia.
Go Aussies.
Go Aussies. How good.
So good. I love Altina so much.
Everything about it, from obviously the taste to how it looks, the backstory, what they're doing in Australia, and just everything about them, hey?
Yeah, we're loving them sick. And the smell. Oh, as soon as you pop that top.
Smell,
yes. It's just a delicious waft of delicious native botanicals.
It is. I've got a sherry.
Sherry.
I do have a story to share about Altina, which I'll unpack in the potty. Thank you, Altina.
Thanks, Altina.
Maso.
Breeza.
How are ya?
Yeah, I'm so good, mate. More to the point, how are you?
Oh, mate, I'm still on a high. For our listeners, we're recording this 2 days after Bendigo's first non-alcoholic drinks tasting event. And what a night it was, hey, Maso.
I've got goosebumps. I'm still high as well. Like, I seriously have goosebumps everywhere. It was so brilliant, Breeza.
Was it? Thank you. But it was a team effort. Thank you for being there and creating all the content. I had such joy looking at it all the next day because I didn't take any photos, and I took bugger all. And yeah, I was sat down with my kids and went through like all the photos and the videos and just said, "This is what Mum did last night," and just seeing it from a different lens because I was not in a tiz, but I just wanted to make sure the night went smoothly on the night. So thank you for that, and thank you to our drink companies, Heaps Normal, Yes You Can, and Smug AF Cocktails. They all came to the event, which is awesome. So I had Loz from Smug and Tyler from Yes You Can fly into state from Sydney for the event. Just awesome effort. And Johnny from Heaps Normal came up from Melbourne. He spent the day in Bendigo. And yeah, those three just dynamite.
The dynamic, it was just easy breezy. They were so good. It was like they all worked together.
Yep. And just uber cool. And someone actually made a note that like when we were serving the drinks, they all pitched in and helped serve each other's drinks as well. Like just
it was super cool. It was
they set the scene.
Yeah.
And the next day, like it was obviously a hectic day. And I had amazing feedback, which just made my heart sing. I never say that made my heart sing, but it did.
La, la, la.
But I was reflecting on it because yesterday I had a few little jobs to do as well, but I was still on this massive high the whole day yesterday. And I was thinking about it before I record this potty, and I thought if I had been drinking, I would have, celebrated with some drinks and I would have had a great night. I would have, celebrated and I would have got home and still kept drinking. I have no doubt I would have stayed up for a few extra hours drinking because I didn't want it to end and I would have had an awesome time. Yeah. But the next day I would have probably felt a little bit sluggish and just went about my day. But yesterday I just was still on this high, Maso. I've probably never experienced that before. And I just want to read a quick little blurb at the back of this book. It's called After Party. And just one little line here. It says, what can it say? It says, so he's talking about sobriety, the author. It says, but that it sings with the clarity and depth of emotion many would never have thought possible. And that emotion thing is just, bang on.
It's gone to a whole new level.
Has. So, I didn't really, wasn't expecting that, but it wasn't until this morning where I reflected and went, yesterday I was on still such a high from the event. So, thanks to everybody involved. It couldn't have been any better, Maso. I was so happy.
Oh, I can see you still beaming. I can feel the beam coming through you. But Breezy, you created that. Like you talk, people listen, and you bring the troops. People want to band behind you and lift something because you had the vision and you're helping people. This is all about helping people. Like you're not making profit off this. You're not making squeens of dollars. You're the between person bringing the AF drinks to the publicans in Bendigo and across the board, across the country, across the world. And the ultra, the end goal is just helping people, giving them choice, giving them option, and changing the drinking culture in Australia to just say you've got choice. You're not poo-pooing alcohol. Yep. You're just going, look, we've got choice. And, when you were talking about that little quote just then about the clarity and the emotion that you feel, it made me reflect upon how much we just wanted to get high by drinking. But now we've got this natural high that's next level that we didn't even know was a thing.
Had no idea. And if someone when we were both drinking and obviously weren't ready to break up with booze, if someone had read that line to me, I'd that's cool. You feel emotion. Well done. Whoop-de-doo. But you don't kind of understand it until you experience it, I think. Yeah, and that's been a pleasant surprise. Yeah. And I have to say, on Thursday night, there was all walks of life there too, Maso. They were all there for their own reason. It was such a mixed bag of a crowd. Yeah. And I just love that they were all there for their own different reason, and they were all willing to try something new.
Which is a massive deal, like going against the grain. And you created that, and you created such an amazing event. The behind the scenes work that you did, with the attention to detail, to have the glasses match your little table mud map and the actual drink and the flowers, everything. Like, there's so much detail and behind the scenes work that you did, and I was just so proud to stand there and watch you. You're an absolute professional in your game. The way that you held the crowd and talked, you actually really need to be a presenter. You're amazing. I'm so proud, and thank you for trusting me with grabbing a bit of footage and the content and being part of it, because you're amazing, mate. I'm thrilled for you and proud to be a friend and proud to be here.
Thank you so much, Maso. Thank you for your support as well, especially leading up to the event. I rang, a few times, absolute tiz, and you were like, it's going to be a great event, mate. It's going to be awesome. You'll sell out, And happy to say all the tickets sold. We had 80 people there, which was max capacity. And my lovely partner and friends that were behind the bar, they punched out 560 drinks in a couple of hours. What a mighty effort.
Yeah, unreal. They were smashing them out. They did not stop. Well done, team.
Yeah. Well done, everyone. So, Maso, what about you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a hell of a couple of weeks, actually. There's been a fair bit going on. I won't tell you about that today, so I'm going to leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger. Feed it as we go along, as I'm feeling more comfortable to talk about the situation. There's some heartbreak going on, but there's also some really exciting next chapter going on as well. So keep your ears peeled for that, folks.
Yes.
Also, amongst all of that, I have been to the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and went to the Palais Theatre, which is actually just up the road from where I live, which is so amazing. We're there with some of my bestest friends. So Hubble, Patty, Tilla, hi guys. We went and saw Carl Barron.
Oh, how good.
Carl Barron is so funny, so funny. So that was amazing. And then Thursday, zipped to Bendigo and saw you, which was Breeza, so amazing. And then last night, I'm leaving another cliffhanger. I'm going to put it in my reco.
Oh, bang.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you what I did last night, which is going to be my recommendation of the week. There you go. So, yeah, I'm up and about.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it.
You gotta have shame on your name. Shame on your name. You're gonna figure it out. Oh, they're gonna know. Figure it out.
Maso, so what are we drinking today first before we get into our shame story?
Yes, well, I'm going to hook into, oh my God, I cannot get enough of LT at the moment. Oh,
we're drinking LeBlanc.
Can I, before we go on, Hub and I went to Chin Chin Restaurants, Linda's Lane in Melbourne. It's one of the biggest and best restaurants in Melbourne. I rang to ask them, and you gave me this tip. It was an episode like 1 or 2, whatever it was. It was the most amazing tip to call forward and ask, can I bring BYO drink? Generally, they say no, but just say you're happy to pay for the corkage fee, however much it is. They just don't know what to do with that question. They're like, what is this? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I rang. He couldn't really help me because he was in booking, because I said, have you got any non-alcoholic drinks? He goes, oh, yeah, we've got juice or soft drink. Oh, that's grinding my gears so much. But we've got to understand, so many, they're behind, they're just catching up. Anyway, got there, took the bottle with me, spoke to the waitress. She didn't know what to do, took it to the manager. She didn't know what to do, thought I was bringing in a bottle of wine. It was this whole palaver. And we said, it's no different than bringing a bottle of water in or a bottle of soft drink. It's exactly the same. She actually happened to be a dietitian and she was loving it. She was reading it. She goes, oh, my God, this is actually really good. I said, yes, it really is. So I'm going to talk to Chin Chin and try and get a bit of Altina in there to get on there. I'm happy to pay for the non-alcoholic cocktails, but they're full of juice. They're just juiced up.
Totally.
I will pay that. I'll buy 3 of them. I'll pay $30 for me to be able to drink my Altina, which is not going to upset my tummy. The botanicals, no sugar. I can't rave more about it. And that being, talk to your publicans, talk to your restaurants, get it in, educate them. It's the only way they know. And that's what you're doing.
Absolutely. I was the story I was going to share with you before was, so when I was looking back at the content that you had created from Thursday night, I was like, they're having a red wine. Oh, that's nice. You know, they're mixing things up. And I saw quite a few glasses of red wine around the tables. And then the penny only dropped literally 24 hours after. And I'm like, oh, they were drinking sangria. My Altina. I legit thought, I was like, oh, my sister's having a red wine and my other friend's having a red wine before we kick off. Yep, that's cool. So I fooled myself.
Like, I actually thought the exact same thing.
Did you?
Yes, because I took that footage. I went, oh, that's nice. It didn't scary at all. But that's sangria, the colour. It's the colour.
How funny.
So
How funny. All right,
anyway,
mate. Who's going to kick off today?
You go. Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, this shame story wasn't wrapped in shame as such, but when I look back on it, I was like, yeah, it should have kind of been a bit of a red flag for me, but I think it wasn't because I wasn't intoxicated. Okay. But let me peel back the layers. So it would have been 8 to 9 years ago. So my son was around 1 at the time, and it was a Friday afternoon, and I was going to catch up with a friend. Hadn't seen her for a while. She's a little bit older than me, and she has she's got quite a few grandkids now, but her grandkid at the time was the same age as my son. So I was like, well, we'll come over. It was a hot day, so naturally we cracked a frothy.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, I don't know if that's a normal thing to do when you're catching up with your friend on a Friday when you've got kids. I don't know, but that was what we did. So it was a hot day. It was like 38 degrees, really hot day. So cracked a frothy and had a swim, and that was all fine. And obviously I was driving. And again, at the time, I've mentioned this before, the car I was driving had an interlock on it. So I had to be 00. So anyway, I must have had a bit of a break, and then I might have had 2 to 3 beers max in the afternoon, right? Drinking Carlton Dry, so heavy beers. So get in the car to go, and I sculled some water before I left. So got in the car, blew in the bag, all good, off I go. So it was probably about 10-minute drive home. And the interlock, I'm not sure if our listeners know, but for those who don't, the interlock can go off at any time. It can start beeping at any time, and it means you have to pull over, turn your car off, blow back in the bag again. So it didn't happen that often, but bugger me dead, on a 38-degree day, it happened. So I pulled over the side of the road, and I blew in the bag, and I blew numbers. And so it was like, 4 p.m, scorching hot. I had no water in the car, mate. So I had no fresh water in the car. And obviously with the car off, there's no air conditioning. So it felt like I just had to ride it out. Like I just had to wait. And it felt like an absolute eternity. My son started to get twitchy, because he was hot. Obviously we got out of the car and stuff, but it was still hot. And where I had pulled over, it was a bit of a back road, but it was quite a busy one. And I kind of just pulled over on a curb. So not the best spot, but I sort of panicked and just pulled over. Anyway, it felt like an eternity. It was probably 15, 20 minutes, and I blew again, and I was fine to drive. So off I went home. But yeah, I looked back and thought, possibly it could have been a bit of a red flag there to go, you probably don't need to get on the beers, in the afternoon on a Friday when you've got your child. You could probably just have a soft drink or AF. I don't think AF drinks were a thing back then, like not in my world. So yeah, I do look back and go, yeah, there is a bit of shame wrapped around that because I could have been stuck there for half an hour. I don't know. I had no water. Like it was just wasn't ideal.
Stuck in the desert.
Stuck in the desert in Bendigo.
But I think, and I understand your shame with that, but it was normal.
But is it, Maso? Like I did look back and go, do people do that?
Well, I think. Why did we normalise it? Why do we think that it's okay?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's that's because it feels so abnormal what we're doing. People are like, what do you mean Nave drinks? What do you mean you're not drinking? Like, you know, and so that sort of thing that you've done, I think everyone would have done, you know, beers on a Friday and then, you know, hours later, it's just, I don't know, it's.
It also made me think, you know, if the interlock had been on, I probably would have had another couple of beers maybe.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
and then I would have been over the limit driving around.
Yeah.
So it can happen so easily too.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not encouraging that, saying it's normal, but I feel like with alcohol and its culture, like it's normalised, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'd
Yeah.
love to hear feedback, listeners. Is that something you would also do on a Friday afternoon when you're on maternity leave? Get on the gas. All right, mate. So over to you, mate.
Oh, thanks for sharing that, Breeza. Talking about driving. Well, actually, it wasn't me driving, and I will preface by saying, unfortunately, I have drink drove. Is it drink drove? Drink driven.
I think so. Drink
drove. Got in my car after. Yeah. Anyway, that was and those stories for another time. But today, I will talk about getting in a car with drink drivers. One thing that my parents drilled into me, like so hardcore from such a young age, was never get in the car with a drink driver. I don't care where you are, we'll come and get you. Like I think Mum even drove to Bendigo from Karangma, which was just about an hour and 15 minutes away to go and pick my brother up. So a 2.5 hour round trip to go on one night when he was, you know, started getting amongst the discos in Bendigo. So it doesn't matter, no matter what time of the day or night, never, ever, ever get in the car with a drink driver. And they drilled that into me, and it stuck with me for such a long time until I did. Fortunately, these stories, no one was hurt, but it could have been, really close call. And I'm sorry to the listeners. This would be really triggering for people who have lost friends or family in drink driving accidents. I have myself personally, quite a few at such a young age. So, so anyway, there was 2 incidents actually. One was in the Lake District in England. Met myself and a friend partying up, having a great time. We were doing a bit of a tour of London and Ireland and everything, and just you're staying in every. They were bed and breakfast back then. There was
yeah.
So you wake up every morning, you have the full breakfast,
snags, eggs.
It's so good. So so we're at the Lake District and we were just partying it up and got chatting to these guys and ended up, wanting to go to this ex-after party and just got in the car of this beautiful, beautiful black sports car, like Range Rover. Beautiful.
Nice.
I don't know, we ended up at this after party and I just thought, what are you doing? You've got in this car with someone that you don't know. I don't know how much he's been drinking. I don't even know where we're going. But, you know, the PFC switched off.
PFC's gone.
And off you go. So that was the first one. I still look back at that and just go, thank God, like how many times that hasn't turned out to be a good event for lots of people. And may those people, I don't know. Anyway, I can't even touch that. The second incident was we were in Manchester and we finished up at a night out. Some of us were walking home and it was only about a 20-minute walk to get home, and we were all like walking in the middle of the road, you know, just class.
As you do.
All wobbly like a shopping trolley with no wheels on. Anyway, all of a sudden our friends turn up in they were called easy cars, the rental cars. It was oh my God, I can't even think of what it's called off the top of my head. It's like a Barina, but it's called a Corsa over there. The Barina in Australia, this hatchback. All of a sudden they turned up, like saying, get in, we'll drive you home. They were blind.
Oh.
Yeah, and we've just gone, no, we're walking. They're going, no, come on, get in. We were all like, okay. 3 of us girls hop in the back of this Corsa with the 2 guys. Anyway, so he's going absolutely hammers, and you've got to go down this bend. so it goes downhill and then around a bend and then around another bend and then around another bend into, it's called a way. So it's like a cul-de-sac type situation. And it's got a creek that runs along that side of the road. So he's flying down these 3 sort of bends, like full Grand Prix, and I'm thinking we are going way too fast. Like this is just way too quick. And he's actually getting faster and faster, and then he's pulled into the cul-de-sac and floored it as well. And we thought we're in serious trouble here. Like we're not slowing down. Anyway, he's ended up tipping it on its side. It's ended up just tipping. It didn't roll, thank God. It just tipped and then slid. So I'll have to post the photos, actually. It's pretty crook. So all of us 3 girls were in the back and the littlest ones on the, like, being squashed on this side. And we obviously all have to pile out through the windows.
Oh,
and
God.
Through the driver's windows to get out. You know, is everyone okay? Everyone's okay. Everyone's okay. Everything's good. And just that could have been so much worse. So much worse.
Did it rattle you, Maso? Or were you too blind?
Beg your pardon?
Were you too blind to go, or did it rattle you?
Probably too drunk to, like, you know, we were all like, oh my God, ha, ha, ha. Like, I think we probably laughing awkwardly going, oh my God, I can't believe that's happened. And even now thinking about it, I'm like, that was pretty hectic.
Yeah.
Could have just been so much worse. We were so lucky. Oh, my God. So, yeah, anyway, the message here is don't ever get in the car with a drink driver. Don't drink drive, and just don't do it.
Stay safe on the roads, especially, well, we're coming up to Easter as we're recording this, but Easter will already gone when this lands. But, yeah. Especially over the busy periods on the road.
Take an Uber, call it Uber.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it's makes me uncomfortable.
It does. Well, and I think the other thing that my parents talk about as well, with Easter traffic, Melbourne people, I don't want to put them all in a box, but city drivers don't drive on the country roads. So there's a lot of crazy driving going on in the country because everyone's heading to the bush or going away for the weekend or heading to the rivers. So just be really super, super careful on the roads.
Yeah, go with the 3-second rule. So make sure you've got a 3-second gap between you and the driver in front of you. Bloody tailgaters, you should all be shipped off to an island and left there because it's so dangerous tailgating. So that 3-second rule, I live by that 3-second rule. Always have a 3-second gap between yourself and the next car in front of you.
That's so good. And what was the other thing? Oh, overtaking, because, you know, on the roads here, when you're overtaking the city, you're only doing about 50 or 60 clicks, but on the open road in the country, you're doing 100 clicks. So
you're fanging it to 140 to get past.
Yeah, so they don't realise how quickly that other car's coming towards you. So that, accidents happen as well. So just got to be really mindful of other people. Actually, another quick tip just about driving, if it's raining or foggy, or actually I just drive around with my lights on all the time. The parking lights are pointless. Stop driving around with your parking lights on. They do not help anything. You see the car before you see your parkers. Do you agree?
Well, I don't know what my car runs. I've got automatic lights on all the time, but I've got lights on all the time. They're those little ones at the bottom.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah, so that just happens.
Cars, people think, oh, yeah, I'll just turn the parkers on. Parking lights are for parking. Not for driving out.
Write that down, peeps.
Oh, right.
All right, now we've given you driving lessons. What are we talking about today, Maso?
We're talking about Boozy Traditions.
We are. I just want to start by reading and I started reading this book last night. Should we mention the book that we're both reading?
Yes, give it up.
So it is called After Party, and it's written by a Melbourne lad by the name of Drew Charles. Should we also mention anything else about him? You say.
Yeah. Well, I heard him on Over the Influence, which is the biggest sober podcast in the world, isn't it? And he was on there, so I heard him and loved him, and we hit him up, and he's been so amazing. He's going to be coming on the potty.
We are interviewing him soon.
And He's a drummer in Pretty City, a band, and he's got 2 little kids, a gorgeous wife, and he's written this book, and it is extraordinary. It's talking about addiction and his life in sobriety now. It actually gives me goosebumps. So we can't wait to get Drew on the potty. He's been so great to talk to so far. So, yeah, he'll be on soon. So listen out for that.
So in his introduction, he writes, whether it's transmitted to us via our parents, extended families or peer groups, we begin imbibing. I never know how to say that, imbibing.
Imbibing?
Imbibing, IMBIBING, like intaking, like imbibing.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, it's like a word that's popped up in the whole sobriety thing.
Okay.
I've seen it like several times. Imbibing, Google it, peeps. We begin imbibing alcohol-saturated imagery from day one. We live in a booze-drenched culture. Celebrations, commiserations, stressful situations, boring situations, happy occasions, sad occasions, stress at work, success at work, marriage, divorce, dates, breakups, out with friends, at home with friends, out alone, at home alone. All these occurrences are a common cause to crack a bottle of your favourite drink and begin the steady path to intoxication.
Yes, isn't that
Bang on.
That's basically the whole topic. Well done.
That's the end of our podcast. Thanks for listening. But isn't it, Maso? Like it literally is. It's literally from conception.
Yeah.
Because let's call it out for what it is. Like many of us have drunk sex to conceive children.
Yeah.
So from conception to your death, everyone's getting blind at your wake.
Yeah.
Like,
and then every milestone that you've been dead, you have a cheers for Barry.
True. I never thought of that either.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know you've written some notes too, mate. So let's get into that. I sort of went down the angle of writing down literally all the occasions throughout your whole life. And like we can say, you know, a day that ends in Y is a drinking occasion. But like think of like, so for like, obviously, yeah, you conceived possibly your parents were pissed when they had sex.
Well, the biggest birth month,
September, correct. Hello, New Year's Eve.
Hooking up New Year's Eve, honky bonk.
Or Christmas parties, blind, have sex, bang. So when you conceived, then you have a baby shower while she's still pregnant. So the birds are on the piss, not the pregnant one, but, you know, your mates are, you know, having a champers.
Yeah.
Then when you're born.
Hang on, just wind it back. Can I chime in?
Chime.
Gender reveal.
Oh, yeah. What is that is that in addition to a baby shower these days?
Yeah.
Or is that in place of? Because gender reveal is more the family, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're doubling up because there's been some baby showers that have been mixed. They have as well.
Yes. Gender reveal. Forgotten about that. And then when you're born, the dad, we're having a party.
Wet in the baby's head.
Yes. And I think like back in the 70s, you know, and further back in history when the dads weren't allowed in the labour suite. Like they weren't allowed to go near their wife and their baby. So they probably had no other choice but to get on the piss.
Which I don't understand because he's already been up in there.
Well, that's it. But it was a whole thing. Like it was a whole thing. Males weren't allowed in the labour birthing suite, I think, until the 80s.
Yeah, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that, I don't know if, like, I'm sure wearing the baby's head's still a big thing, but I think it was like a big piss up back in the day. But I think men are more, like, they've got so many more hats they need to wear now, which is being a supportive father that doesn't get on the piss as much.
Yes,
Then you got your baptism.
Oh, yes.
Where we're frothing on afterwards at the pub.
Yeah.
We're tipping them in to celebrate.
Yeah.
As a mum, your first night out.
Oh, big one.
Getting gassed.
Yeah.
So
that's a big night. Being let out of a
yes. Or even as I remember, like, going out on, we'll call it a date, but going out without the baby for the first time as well. Like, you do hook into booze. Mothers, as a parent, mothers group. So you obviously meet with your babies, and you're like, let's organise a girls' night out. Yeah. Ditch the kids, leave the baby at home.
Yeah.
A big one's a first birthday.
Yes, big one.
Big
It's all about-
one. Well, it is, isn't it? It's all about the parents and their mates.
Yeah,
So
big one.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
I wrote, and chime in, Maso. I'm just going through my list.
No, well, I was going to wind it back a little bit because we forgot about even before you have them. This is traditionally how, obviously when you're getting, married, and we've got stag do's. Stag do's parties.
Yes.
Or was that further down? Sorry.
Well, I switched from the parent to then being the kid that's then grown up.
Yeah.
I'm taking you on a life journey.
Let's do it. Yep, carry on.
So we'll get to those because they're just out of control. But playgroup Christmas parties. So when you're a parent with your kid, you're having little playgroup parties. You're probably bringing beers. I remember at like the orientation of the school, like as a new parent, you get invited to the school and they have like a barbecue. We snuck beers in. Yeah.
Any opportunity to
Any opportunities. I bought a Lesky and said to a few other parents, you're going to, have a few drinks. They're like, yeah. So yeah, any kind of, meet and greet nights when your kid's starting kinder or school. And then I've written down when your child goes to school, you become, you enter, and this is a line I stole from Julia Morris.
Yeah.
You enter the quadrangle of judgment as a parent. And it actually made me think, like, so when you're having and the women at school do a great job of organising catch-ups with everyone. Like they do a really good job, and they are boozy nights, and they are a fun night, and it sort of does break the ice. I guess for some people having the booze there. But we did last year, so 2021, parent-teacher interviews were done via Zoom.
Oh.
Who was drinking red wine? Who was drinking red wine whilst talking to the teacher? You're looking at yours truly.
Wow.
And I'm going, this is great. I'm going to teach. This is great. Like you should do the parent teachers interviews online. And I'm sitting there swilling back on me Shiraz.
Really took the edge off.
Really took the edge off. And then I thought again, so sort of as a parent, sporting presentations. So your kids, into sport, presentation nights, cans.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I've sort of flipped again to the parent. Friday night after work, which is a given. But then you've got reconciliation if your child goes to a Catholic school, confirmation, communion, and then let's flip to the child. So you've grown up, so you're a teenager now.
So we're sneaking out, as everybody else is. They're 13 to 14. Even like Booze Free Dad, you're starting to have that little bit of froth on the top of the beers from the Vegemite jar. Can we talk about those Vegemite jars and cream cheese jars? Did you? My grandma used to have those. Did you ever have them back in the day?
Filled with what? For drinks?
So when you finished the Vegemite or the cream cheese, it just had like a tin lid on it, and you popped it off. And when you finished it, you can use the jar as a glass.
Don't know. It doesn't ring a bell. I know what you mean though. But yeah, didn't have them.
That up. Anyway, so you're just having a little froth off the top of your dad's frothy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you do ever do if you one of your parents got a cask wine in the fridge, you put your finger under it and just have a little lick.
How putrid and disgusting was the taste of it?
Foul, mate.
Disgusting. And what?
Wild peach. What was some of the there's wild peach? That was quite a modern one. Lindemans. You know what I was always fascinated with was West Coast coolers. I was like, I used to see birds rocking around with those. I thought that was so cool. Yes, in the 80s.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah.
Yes. They were like the real classy drink, weren't they? West Coast coolers. Have you had one recently in the last, say, 5 years?
No, God, no. Do you know who used to hook into them? Is our dear friend of May, his soul rest in peace, Brad Hecker.
Oh, did he?
Drinks West Coast coolers at the Sundance in 1996 or just prior to 2000. So, Hecky, we miss you, but geez,
what a classic.
Is that funny?
What a classic. Just saying on the West Coast coolers topic, they're actually they're really light in alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I drank them. I might have drank them when I was pregnant. I might have had one or two here and there on an occasion, such as watching the football. And Yeah, they're like 3.5%.
Oh, for nothing.
So that, yeah. And they taste, yeah, I do like the taste of them.
Yeah. Oh, West Coast coolers, how good.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're growing up and it's a bit of a rite of passage, isn't it, Maso, to test the waters out.
Yeah. And actually, we spoke about it on previous episodes. Filthy, dirty, like brown spirits we started on. Yuck.
Gag.
Fun, wasn't it?
Gag.
Yeah, such gag. So, yeah, 18th. Big night.
Huge. Actually, wind it back to your Deb parties, mate.
Oh, yes.
So
I
year 10?
I didn't do my Deb. It's a bit of a sore subject, actually.
Oh, shit. I've triggered Maso, everyone. Triggered her. Have a swill of your Altina.
Tell you about that.
Did you go to any Debs, Maso, as a,
Yeah, I wanted
spectator?
I wanted to do my Deb. I was meant to do it, but my boyfriend at the time did it with another girl.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, it's still really
Devo.
sore. Still hurts me, still pains me to this day.
So
It was
correct me if I'm wrong, though, but doesn't the girl ask the guy? Like, it's a tradition for the girl.
Yeah, I asked him, but the new girl came to town and then she asked him and he went with her instead of me.
Oh, she muscled her way in.
Yeah, I'm still filthy about it.
I would be too, mate. We need to let this go, though.
I know.
We need to let it go.
Probably good to vent it out. Maybe I should do my Deb now.
Mature age Deb. We need a partner for Maso. We need a partner.
You know what? In saying that, when I think about it, it was that time that I flipped it and got in with the wrong crowd as well after that.
Self-destruction.
It was a turning point. Yeah.
Interesting, mate. Definitely. I feel like that's one of the first times that you really get a taste of party life as a teenager.
Yeah.
That was my experience anyway. Like I loved the Deb ball, the whole situation, because it was one party after the next and dressing up and getting blind.
Yeah. I think I did crash the Deb party though. Probably
good.
I might have jumped into the pool with all my clothes on as well.
Of course you did.
Loose in it. Anyway, Deb party.
Deb parties and sporting clubs before you hit 18 as well.
Yeah.
Again, in my experience. Oh, my God, we won the netball grand final.
Oh.
I would have been in year 11, so I was like 16. And before we played the netball, like before we actually played the game, we had all our drinks sorted.
Oh.
We got on the contro. So we had all our drinks sorted and we literally went on a 3-day bender. Like we were hooking into Contra and Lemonade at lunchtime after we won the flag on a Sunday, and then that rolled into the pub. It just, we went absolutely Burko. For 16-year-old girls, we went Burko.
Love it.
Because we had played netball and won.
Yes.
So, hello, 3 days of binge drinking.
Getting stuck in.
Good. Talk about 18th, Maso. I know you're chafing a bit.
What is it? No, not at all. And then when you finish year 12 or year 11, you've got the end of year parties.
Graduation.
What are they called?
Like the last day, muck-up day?
Yes.
Muck-up day, yeah. Drinking at school, like that's what we bought it, snuck a slab in. Yeah, do you remember Starks? They were here for one red hot minute. They were like a cider, Starks.
Okay,
and so we hooked into them in the toilets.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Naughty.
Real naughty. But we just thought it was our right. We thought we were entitled to do that.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no rules.
No rules, yeah. Well, it was harmless. Like it was harmless fun. We weren't like being rats or anything. Well, depends how you define a rat. Drinking in the toilets at school, possibly a rat status.
All good. You turned out okay.
Yeah, it turned out okay.
Redeem yourself. Then where are we up to? 18th.
Well, you go to schoolies first.
Oh,
well, some of it, because how old were you, May? So were you 18 when you finished? Oh, hang on, no. How old? You didn't finish year 12.
Nah.
Yeah, right. So some people.
I went back to school.
That's right, mate. So, some people are. So did you do schoolies?
No. Did you?
Yeah, we went. Hang on, no, I wasn't allowed to go.
Oh.
I wasn't allowed to go. All the girls went to Torquay. And yeah, mum and dad put their foot down.
Linny said no. Hi, Linny.
No. Well, I think it was more so dad would have said, yeah, bow, bow. So I didn't get to go, but I ended up going to Lawn with a friend anyway. And then the next year I really tied one on in Torquay anyway.
Yeah.
I was 17. So I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, so they did the right thing, but at the time I was fuming, absolutely.
Are you still filthy?
Well, I feel like I got to make it up the next year because I'd turned 18. So, and all the girls, we all hired a house again. There was probably 6 of us, and I made up for it, mate.
Yeah, okay.
But I was gutted at the time.
Yeah, I bet.
Probably didn't talk to mum and dad for a few days, like just filthy.
It's still a bit sore.
I know.
Yeah, little did they know, because they said no, you went harder the next weekend.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 18s. Talk about a Maso. 18.
One of my best friends, her daughter just turned 18, and straight to the pub for shots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like you said, it's a rite of passage, just hanging out for your 18th to have your legal drink, and your legal drink is a massive one, isn't it?
And it does feel different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your legal drink as opposed to the ones where you snuck into the pub at 17, because you're probably on edge going, I don't want to get caught.
Yeah. Actually, when was the first time you went into a pub underage and got a drink?
Underage to drink?
Make that for me.
It would have been, I reckon, I don't remember the exact time, but I suspect I was, because I remember I went out night clubbing when I was 16, which is another tradition, is when your parents go away when you're 16, you invite the girls over and you have a party and then you hit the town.
Yeah. Too right.
And that's what happened when I was 16, yeah. And that's a story for another day, because it's too big of a story to tell right now. But, went out, hit the discos. I still remember the dress I was wearing, this blue, like, glittery number. And, like, I didn't even have to have a bra on. Like, it was just really, it was really sexy. I was like, it was, like, a bit trashy, actually. Not sexy. It was probably trashy, but I felt sexy in it. And that's probably all I've got to say about that. But tell me about your experience. Well,
I was with a bit of a rat bag at the time as well. She was a year older than me, and we went into the hotel, and she bought I must have been 17.
Is this in Kerrang?
Yeah, I might have been 16, I reckon. And we went to the Kerrang Hotel on the corner. It's actually not there anymore.
Oh.
I think it's 5. So I think two of the pubs in Kerrang have burnt down. There's 5 pubs in Kerrang for a population of 4,500. Isn't that nuts? Like 5 pubs.
Nuts.
Crazy. Anyway, rolled into to the Kerrang, and there were only 2 people in the we were kind of in the dining lounge area, and she ordered orange and vodkas, and I remember there was a jukebox, and she put on the Doors, Roadhouse Blues. You gotta sue my soul. Oh, it was so. I'll play that later. I should find it, actually. Oh, I've got it anyway. Yeah, so orange and vodkas underage, that was the first time. And then it just was hell leather after that. In fact, I think I remember dancing on the bar at the commercial hotel underage when they had karaoke. Yeah, just...
I miss jukeboxes. How good were they?
Do you know, actually, my brother got me a hired a jukebox for my 30th birthday we had at home. It was brilliant. Hire a jukebox.
Love that.
Ever. Yeah, so good. Thanks, Normie.
I loved, jukebox. Good times with the jukebox. So, you've done schoolies. You've had 18s. Then, even if you don't go to uni, you do an O week.
Yeah.
Yes. I did about 3 O weeks, never went to university. Oh, God, yeah, because one of my friends who lived right next to the uni. Yeah. So it was just party central at her house. We'd all just pile into a house and just scoot across the uni and, get amongst it.
Yeah, go for gold. We think about when you get your licence, aren't you having a drink to congratulate?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're probably getting a bottle of Blanc to celebrate as a gift to say well done.
But don't drink drive.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And then, yes, obviously, did you go to uni, Maso? No. Yeah, same. But I think, like I had friends that went to uni, so any uni gig I tooted along to.
Yeah, hooked in. Well, I was working like I was working, working at the pubs and bars. So yeah, at those uni nights, I was serving the piss.
You were probably, who's that pest? I was probably pest being the pest and you were serving me.
You look like you need another one.
So then I've written down after university, the natural progression is the workforce. Workforce / perhaps moving into a rental.
Yeah.
Housewarming, hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you're having a big party for that.
Massive party for that.
And then workforce, like I think, any work function that you're going to, there's booze there.
Friday
night knockoffs, did you say?
Yeah.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the biggest nights of the week. Loves it. Everyone running off in their little power business dressing.
Yes.
And it's so funny seeing them all professional and just seem real messy.
Ties off, collars loose, the shirt's loose.
Yeah, yes. The girls just all flirty and
Mate, I've had many nights like that.
Yeah, right.
You go out for one drink after work. Your car's having a sleepover. You end up bar hopping. And this is in Bendigo. Obviously in Melbourne, it's like on steroids because there's so many more. It's such a bigger culture of Friday night knockoffs, isn't it, in Melbourne? But yeah, and look, some of my funnest nights have been those just nights that spiral. But then your weekend's ruined. I also had written down, and this is probably, I sort of reflected back on my life, like what I've done. So after the workforce, I jumped out of the workforce and then travelled. And did London, which is, we've spoken about this before, May, so it's a blur. If that's how you described it.
Total blur. It is. I wish I could remember more. Even I was talking to, I think, Tyler from Yes You Can. I think when we were talking the other night at your function, we wish we remembered more things. I think it was him. Sorry, Tyler.
I reckon.
Like, wish we could remember more things.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But in saying that, like, I think that time of our lives, Maso, we were there to party and there to experience and there just to be a bit wild.
Yeah, correct.
And I probably wouldn't have done it any other way looking back.
No, you're right. You're so right. Like, time of our lives.
Time of our lives. Like, no responsibilities. Like, just...
All you had to worry about was your next holiday and your next house party. That's all you had to worry about. And drinking every day of the week. Like, there was no living for the weekends. It was just boozing on. And they were big sessions all the time. And I think what I didn't realise when we got over there is because you meet friends and you make friends and you create these bonds really, really quickly because you're all from the other side of the world, which you wouldn't have necessarily had in Bendigo or wherever you're from. Sort of someone knows someone that goes, oh, yeah, they're from Bendigo, and all of a sudden they're in your clique. Yes. And then because they've all got their own agendas, they've all got their own travelling experiences and where they want to go, and their visas might be this, and they're always leaving. There's always someone leaving all the time or always someone coming in. Parties, welcoming parties, and just on constant rotation, isn't it?
Absolutely. And there's always obviously some sort of gig on as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's just when you're based in London. Then when you're travelling, you're drinking every day without a doubt. And I think that whole social lubricant thing, when you do, go into a new or country and you're meeting new people, you are drinking for that to fit in.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in your 20s, like you still don't know who you are. You're still uncomfortable and you're still finding yourself. Whereas in our mature age years, Maso, like we have that confidence. We've got that life experience that we know. We can, and I think you and I are similar in that respect. And actually I saw a post from Sam from Sober Mates today. She did a solo trip to Fiji and she said, and obviously she's sober, but she's a confident person. So, and she said she'd go up and talk to people. She'd ask people to take a photo of her and that would be a good icebreaker. And I think you and I like that. We would do that naturally, but it doesn't come easy for some people.
No.
So the thought of that would be like, I need to have some sort of drink in my hand just to calm myself down to speak to someone. But I think in my 20s, would have even dreamed of being sober and meeting new people. But I think now we have had that life experience and we do have that confidence to do that.
Yeah, correct. Yes. It's a nice place to be, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate. And I think it just gets more stronger as you go down the path, down the journey.
Correct.
I'd written down 21st.
Oh, yeah, big one.
Because I feel like you lose touch with your high school mates in those some of them in those 3 years. And then, it's like a reunion.
Yeah.
21st.
And it's always a blind act. There's always a story from someone's 21st.
Yes.
Always someone be absolute maggot.
Absolutely. And during those times too, I was really amongst the BNS scene too at that point.
Yeah, you gave them a good one.
I used to love a good BNS. And so, of course, that's a really boozy tradition.
Oh, putrid, yeah.
And I was like a putrid rum pig mess, like filthy. And you just don't care because everyone's like just as filthy as you. So you're just like, whatever.
Yeah, just trash.
Just trash, yeah. But imagine doing, like, again, back then I could not imagine doing that sober. Because the whole BNS thing, like traditionally, is about girls and boys who are from the country that are isolated, that come together, have a drink, have a little, bush dance. But now it's turned into one big, piss fest.
Yeah. And BNS, for those of you that don't know, is called Bachelor and Spinster Ball. And it's normally held like in a real country area where there's like utes are a big thing, aren't they?
Utes are a big thing. It's a very Aussie traditional, way for country folks to meet other country
but you're
folks.
not wearing a ball gown. It's a cowboy kit, isn't it? It's farm like boot, suit and boogie type.
Yeah, so I think I used to run a dress, but boots, always like me boots. I'd be, because sometimes it'd be muddy and stuff as well. But I'd love to see actually, Maso, and I'm going to Google this after this potty, what BNSs, how they started out. Like, did they wear gowns and have it at the local hall?
Yeah, right.
And did it just become this big, donut fest and doing doughies in your utes?
Yeah.
Circle work.
Circle work. They got with their big Carnago pub sticker on the back and their Bundy rum.
And their bull bar and the aerial.
Yes, and the mud flaps.
And the mud flaps. And you know what? There's just not far from Bendigo, there's a town called Elmore, and they have a BNS ball once a year, and it's incredible for the township.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of money that pushes back into that community is unreal. And they've got such a hardworking committee that sit behind the organising, and they do a fantastic job. It's a great job. They get people from all over, and they put on a really good event.
Yeah, so good. Go Elmore.
Go Elmore.
21st.
What else you got, Maso?
21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. all the dates. But I think if you're moving into getting a partner, getting engaged, you've got engagement parties, then you've got the wedding. Oh, then you've got hens do, stags do's. Then you've got the weddings. Then you've got the after parties.
Oh, yes.
Then you've got divorce parties.
Yep.
As well. And then, obviously every milestone after that, whether that's, anniversaries, etc.
Yeah.
And then the kiddos come along as well.
Yeah, I think that's start of a new relationship. That can be a really boozy time.
Massively boozy. In fact, I think a lot of relationships do start in that boozy phase, and as they go along, they realise, actually, I don't want to drink that much anymore. And the dynamics can really change significantly when booze is removed from a relationship. So,
yes, I agree.
And it's hard to, I know that I was like that as well. Booze played a really significant role in relationships that I've had, and it was detriment to the relationship. And you removed it, and it was great, but not for all people. And it's hard, particularly when someone wants to continue drinking a lot, and the other person wants to rein it back.
Yep.
I've heard some conversations recently of friends, partners saying, well, and I had it said to me as well, like, it's not going to work because you don't drink anymore.
So you've had a friend say that too, or
I've had that said to me, and I friend, their partner said it to them as well, that it's not going to, because anymore. I'm like, hang on, well, and it was said to me, I'm like, that doesn't even come into an equation. Like, how is that even a thing?
How is it a thing? People don't fall in love with you because of your drinking ability.
Yeah, like I was piss fit and I was really good at it, and I do miss is being really silly and Larry and running around and running amok, but that what I put in my body shouldn't affect anybody else.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, it's a funny area.
It's an uneducated and ignorant kind of statement to say.
Correct. Yeah.
And I feel, if that's the truth that they actually feel, then I feel like they're missing out on so much of life if they're basing a relationship on the drinking element.
Yeah. What that Robin Williams quote I posted the other day, that if you need booze and drugs to have a fulfilled life, you're doing it wrong.
Wrong. Yeah. So powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So powerful. But, in saying that, if I look back at relationships of mine that have been boozy, and if my partner had said to me, I'm giving up alcohol, I would have gone through a grieving process, because you do lose a part of that, not that person, but it does change the dynamics. It does change the dynamics.
Yeah.
But I think to make a statement so big to say, well, if you're not drinking, things aren't going to work, that's just too big to process.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, what was I going to say about that? Sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought.
That's all right. It's a big topic to talk about. And, I'd actually love to know if other people have experienced that. If, if their partner stopped drinking, you're going to say something, go. Is it come back?
Well, I remember my drinking was addressed by a partner once saying, because I was having a bit of a crack at their drinking, because they've got a bit of a drinking issue, but it came back at me that I was having none of it, Breeza. None of it. I was like, no way. There was nothing wrong with my drinking at all. And at the time I was just so offended. I just couldn't believe that they would actually address my drinking.
Yeah, right.
And until maybe a couple of months ago, I thought, actually, yeah, I do. Like, it is a problem for the relationship. And I ended up apologising to this ex at the time and just said, yeah, I'm so sorry, you were actually right. But it wasn't until now. So, and that's really, when you are addressing booze with a partner, it can actually push them further away and drive them more to drink more, because that's what happened to me, and I know that's happened before. So it's a really delicate area. And I was talking at your drinks night the other night, the same thing happened, and she said the same thing. As soon as I kept banging on about it, it just made it worse. So it's a really difficult conversation to have with people.
That happened to me, actually.
Yeah.
I had a really messy night out one night, and I think I ended up having a fight. This was going back quite a few years with my boyfriend at the time, and then the next day, his friend, who wasn't a close friend, but so my boyfriend was annoyed at me for being so blind and messy. So the next day he caught up with a guy that night. He knew, well enough to have his phone number and stuff. So the next day he went over to his house and they had a Sunday session, because he was like, F you, Breeze, I'm going to go and hang out with this guy and get on the gas. And I had gone over to that to the house, and the friend had said to me, he'd pulled me aside and just said, look, Breeze, you were really messy last night, you were doing this, doing that. And he's like, you need to probably have a look at your drinking. And I really took that I went home and really had a deep think about my drinking, and I had a time off the gas then, because I'd heard it from someone else. If I hadn't heard it from my boyfriend at the time, I'd be like, whatever, mate, like, F you, and got captain defensive. But I'd heard it from an outsider's point of view, who had seen me, and someone who I didn't know that well but had respect for. And so he pulled me up.
Isn't that interesting? We can actually go down a rabbit hole on this, because I got a message yesterday about this as well. But anyway, we'll save that for another time. We'll get back on
track. Only as you were talking about, you said something before, Maso, which I'd written down, public holiday. Any public holiday is an excuse to drink, is a reason to drink, isn't it?
100%. Oh, a bit like the night before the public holiday.
It's a whole thing, the night and the next day.
Actually, that was a pretty traditional thing for us as well. Like, if there was a wedding or something on, like the Saturday, you'd be getting blind on the Friday, or if you had something on, or a festival or something, you'd be getting smashed the night before the actual event. Couldn't wait.
Yes, you'd be all excited. And then even for weddings, I'd always take the Monday off work.
Yes,
because you're like, you'll get blind at the wedding. Then Sunday is like the really loose Sunday session, recovery session.
Yes.
So of course you need to rest and recuperate on the Monday.
It's the after party. Love the after party. It was all about the Sunday for me. I love the Sunday sesh.
Same. You love the Sunday sesh. Yeah, you're big on that.
I think because it was all a bit twisted because I was still a bit bent out of shape from the Friday night.
Just continued on.
Yeah.
But I suppose, May, so when I was, writing down stuff for this potty, I just thought I never questioned any of these boozy traditions. It was just like any party, any gathering, any catch up with your friend, anything, there's always booze.
There is. And there's other things in there too, I'll just add about like food pairings. You got to have your red wine with your steak. You have your white wine with your fish,
Yes.
There's trifle. What are you putting in trifle?
Yeah. Is it sherry?
Sherry in your trifle. You're having eggnog at Christmas. You're having mulled wine at Christmas time as well.
Yeah.
Tour de France and the Grand Prix, which is actually happening on down the road. They're magnums of like gazillion dollars. I don't know, whatever the booze is, that's, spraying it into the crowd. That's traditional. Shoey's traditional. So cheersing before you have food as well.
Do you want to explain what a shoey is to our international listeners who may not know?
You do it.
Okay, so you basically take your shoe off and you pour your beer into your shoe. Most traditionally, it's normally a boot. You pour it in and then you drink that whole beer or whatever you're drinking out of your shoe, put it back on.
Disgusting.
Have you ever done one?
No, have you?
I haven't either.
No way. Yuck.
I saw one done. Oh gosh, it was recently, like within the last month, I saw a shoey done. Oh, do you know what? It was on, and I don't watch this show, Maso, but I turned on the TV and it was on. So I captured like 5 minutes of it. Married at First Sight.
Oh.
One of the flogs on there. I'm sure he's a flog. As I said, I haven't watched it, but he'd be a flog. He did a shoey in his R.M. Williams boots, and
No.
Anyway,
Good.
shoeys. Yeah, no good. So do not try this at home. But yeah, all saturated in booze, aren't they? All those things just mentioned, mate.
Yep. Choosing before food and looking each other in the eye before you drink. And we used to do like top, bottom. Did you ever do that?
No.
So when you've got your glass, so you've got a glass and I've got a glass, and we go top, bottom before you drink.
Oh, right. Mate, yeah, I don't know. The eye thing, definitely.
Yeah, the eye thing. So that, we can still do those without booze as well, but they were the things that I think about, around the worldwide. It's just,
camping as well, like beers around the fire.
Yeah.
Traditional thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and when you like, when I was writing all this stuff down, I'm like we are totally going against the grain by not drinking, aren't we?
We really are. We really, really are. We're up against it. But actually, much up against it. It's more so just inclusive, and it's just giving and choice. And
absolutely. And I think it's it is like these alcohol-free drinks have made it possible or easier to still be a part of those traditions. And they're ingrained in our culture. They're part of the Aussie, what I call it, the Aussie, not the culture, the Aussie, not the canvas, but, just the Aussie. Well, the Aussie way, we'll call it. Yeah. And those traditions, they're never going to go away.
Yeah.
Like, it's, Aussie is going into a pub and, having a chamomile.
Yes. Well, it's just highlighting that if you are thinking about trying to get off the booze, it's, this stuff is unavoidable, and it's what you'll be sort of trying to navigate around, and don't be so hard on yourself, because it's hard. It's hard to try and avoid and adjust to, but we're here for it.
Yeah, we're here for it. And if any of those, boozy traditions, if you are trying to, stay off the booze and you get invited to, a friend's 40th, for example, and you just know that it's going to be too hard, it's okay to not go. If you're going to be really white knuckling and you're just like, this is just too much, you don't have to go.
It's true, because it is so hard to go, I really want to go. What are they going to think of me? Oh, my God, it's only one, I'll do it for them. But they're not the one waking up the next day with that anxiety, And I've been told twice when I wasn't drinking in those times of sobriety that I was boring. still razzes me. It's still really, really difficult to hear someone go, "Oh my God, you're so boring with your, when you're not drinking," because I was pretty loose and leery when I was on the didn't know me sober. So that's really hard. So just be really mindful of supporting your mates who are wanting to get off the gas, and it's their choice what they put in their body, and it shouldn't affect you. If it does, well, that's you've probably got to have a bit of think about. Just educate it. Be open to it. Be open to change of what people are choosing to do with their bodies.
Absolutely, mate. That's such good advice. That's so good.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap. That's a wrap of our...
Up of the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the traditions.
Thanks,
But we can,
mate.
yeah.
What was that?
We can do these all with AF drinks now.
We can. We can. So cheers to that, Maso.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers. So is it top, bottom?
Top, bottom.
top, bottom. Oh, awesome. That was good, mate.
Great. Good job, mate.
Got into a good flow. I felt like I was a bit takeover Terry, so I'm sorry if I was...
Oh, we had the exact same things written down.
Okay, so this text regret came from a listener, Maso. It's hot off the press. It dropped in this morning, this message. They messaged me and said, "Can you read this out?" Obviously anonymously. Now, I'm going to just say that there is some swearing involved. Buckle up.
Keep ahead.
Okay, so just to set the scene, it was so she is a school teacher, and it was the last day of term 1.
Yeah.
And so Friday night, obviously having a few drinks to knock off.
Yeah.
And she was on her phone and thought she was texting her friend, because you can have lots of banter with your mates. And it turns out she actually texts a colleague, another teacher. Now, so set the scene. It's already sounding dodgy. Okay, so the text went like this. It said, "Won't be looking forward to going back to the shithole after Easter and teaching the little cunts." Dead.
Dead. Rest in peace. Oh.
So she obviously hit the panic button and couldn't delete it. And the colleague wrote, did an emoji, staring kind of face. You know, the stare bear kind of emoji, like the shock one. Yeah. Sort of sent that one back to her. And yeah, so she was just, she said she was so embarrassed, and she actually then sent another text the next day to her saying, "I'm so sorry." So yeah, she cleared it up, but dead.
So much dead. Oh, Lord. Oh, you'd actually be throwing your phone away, wouldn't you, and changing them?
Yeah, I'd leave the country.
Yeah.
Book me a flight, I'm out of here.
Thank you for sharing that, though.
It's time for the recommendation of the week.
What have you got, Maso?
Well, Breeza, I gave you a little teaser at the start about what I did last night, and I actually am loaded with merch from the Resilience Project.
Yes.
I've been a couple of times. I bought tickets years ago and I couldn't go. Ty actually went and loved it, and he actually said, he goes, if this was on every week, I'd actually go. And I went with Hubble. Oh, sorry, if this was on every day of the week, I'd actually keep going every night of the week. And funnily enough, a couple of years later, Hubble, who I went with last night, we had a gorgeous time. She said exactly the same thing. She goes, I want to go to Shepparton on Monday. I'll go and see it. I'll go and see it. She was real up and about. She's so pumped. I've got the T-shirt on. I'll explain to you what Gem is. The whole tour situation on the back. I bought the book. I know you've got this book, and I think I do have the first book. He has and I've got the diaries as well, the Resilience Project diaries. I know we've spoken about these before. Booze Free Dad spoke about them on his potty as well. And you can also, there's an app. So if you're not into writing or journaling, he actually has an app as well where you can do your little journaling. And just the importance of the journals, I can't even... Oh, my God. I didn't know he was going to be so funny. He's so
hilarious.
funny. but his message in all of it as well, like it's so GEM stands for G is for gratitude, E is for empathy, and M is for mindfulness. And they're the three values that we should completely practice every single day. And it's just basic stuff that we can just be grateful for the things we've got instead of being ungrateful for things that we do or don't have. And it's just empathy is just being kind and trying to understand things from another person's point of view. And then mindfulness is just being in the moment and just stopping. People get really wigged out about meditation and mindfulness. Like, what is it? How do I practice it? I'm so shit at it. That's the whole point. Being mindful is bringing yourself back to going, okay, you know, if you're going for a walk around the block and you're trying to just be mindful and look at the trees and take in the greenery and listen to the sounds, and then all of a sudden you start thinking about, oh, my God, I've got to go do washing and I've got to get the kids here or whatever it is. And then you just think, oh, I'm so shit at mindfulness. Okay, I've got to bring it back in, start thinking about the trees and the greenery and, you know, being really in the moment and taking in what you're seeing in the elements in the environment. That's mindfulness. That's stopping and catching the thought and then bringing it back. That is mindfulness and meditation. That's the whole thing. So anyway, I cannot rave more highly about the Resilience Project. This episode is dropping in a few weeks, so I'm not sure where the tickets are and where he's travelling. But if you do miss it this time, there'll be more. He's got the podcast Imperfects, and he pops up everywhere. He's on lots of different podcasts, No Filter, with Mamma Mia and Best Ever. What did you think, Breeza?
Awesome. Oh yeah, I'm a massive fan. I've seen it a couple of times, and actually it's a great segue to my reco because my reco is the Imperfects podcast, and I'm going to direct you straight to season 4, episode 3.
Yes.
It is with Hamish Blake, and their talk is about self-doubt and the conversation that the 4 guys have. Is the deepest, like they're hilarious blokes anyway, so you'll get a laugh out of it. But it's such a deep conversation. It's so raw and it's so vulnerable. They have it's called the Vulnerability Tea House.
Yes.
And the conversations, just conversations I've never ever heard before, especially amongst blokes. And I ate up every word that they spoke of in that podcast. It's fantastic. They're doing great things in this space, and get around them, peeps. They're awesome.
Cracking episode. I'll put that one on our Insta page as well that you can tune into. I listened to that too, Breeza. It was extraordinary. It was amazing. So, we're all 3 cheers for the Resilience Project. Everything Hugh Van Kleinenberg is doing with his brother Josh and Ryan Shelton as well. So, and all they're amazing.
Absolutely. That brings us to the end of this ep, mate. So good to chat again. It has been 2 weeks. We had a 2-week little, not vacay, but we just... Stars and Moon didn't align, did they, in the last couple of weeks?
We had a bit
going on. But next week we have our number 1 ticket holder on.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Katie Minogue.
Katie Minogue. So we can't wait to share her story. She's a high-flying lawyer, and her story is super relatable, and she speaks. She's got some big words, hasn't she, Maso? We love her big words.
You're fangirling her big girl words.
We are. All right, Maso. Let's get out of here. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
This podcast is proudly produced by our audio engineer, music extraordinaire, Eric Ladd. We love you, Eric.